they're out of time to throw in from 2 yards out to the PD, and this is a brand new ball game. Narimasu 6 and Johnson 6. Let the kickoff going to be kicking for the Dragons, and there's a lot of activity in the stands below, as you can hear. Back to receive will be Van Johnson and Roy Bass. They're standing on their own 10-yard line. Officials coming to the sides now, ready for the kickoff. Morton's all set, just waiting for the signal. Still waiting. There's the signal. He comes forward now. With the ball, it's a short kick. It's going to be dropped on about the 15. Gets right back. He touched it. Went down to about the 10. He sits to the grid. Picks up. Finally has the blockers forming. But he is going to be dropped. Down deep. Now he gets away from the tackler. So his feet is finally snowed under. Snowed under now by a host of those white jerseys. Coming off the pile was among them Eggert and Steve Morton, the man that kicked off. And a break there for Narimasu. Johnson can't have a run back on that. It's on the 8-yard line. Johnson will take over first and 10 at that point. The kick, it got away from Roy Bass. He fumbled it another time, trying to pick it up, and finally he was snowed under on the 8-yard line. 3 minutes on the scoreboard clock now as Johnson comes up to the line of scrimmage. Mike Stevens, the quarterback, barks the signals. Hands off into the middle of the Boggs, but Boggs can't go anywhere. He gets maybe a step or two on his forward progress. Coming off the bottom of the pile among them was Dave Eggert. They give him a 2.5-yard gain. So it's 2nd and 8. Kaczynski goes into the game on defense now for the Dragons. And coming out is number 30, Paul Tanaka. Johnson with the ball, up to the line of scrimmage. Just outside the 10-yard line. Stevens calling the signal. He has it now. Hands off. This time to Johnson. Johnson gets across the right tackle position. Perhaps another yard or two. Let's see when they finally spot it down. He is brought down there among the tacklers, Montgomery and Eggert. Gain of another 2 yards or so. Let's make it 3rd down and 6. 3rd and 6 now for Johnson. Running across is Wayne Anderson. He stops the huddle momentarily, speaks something, and comes on off to the sideline. Evidently just a play going in from the coaches in the huddle. I believe he is off the field. And now Johnson's going to call a timeout. Evidently a mix-up in there. Anderson came in, stopped the huddle momentarily, went on off to the sideline. Now he's back into the huddle. And going out is the quarterback, Mike Stevens. So it looks like Anderson will be quarterbacking. Okay, they're back up now. Anderson is at quarterback. Officials haven't called time in yet. There it is now, and we're ready to go. Anderson barking the signal. Drops back to pass. Has some time. Shoots one out to the flat to Johnson. It is complete. And he gets away from a couple of tacklers. Still has feet up to the 30. Still on his feet. Gets away from a couple more. And finally it's going to be driven out of bounds about the 43-yard line. Dave Eggert finally brought him down. Some beautiful blocking upfield for him. He got away from a couple of tacklers. They were just about to put their arms around him. And get him there of 28 yards. So Johnson moves the ball out to just about the 40-yard line where they spotted down. The cross-country teams are now starting. Johnson and Narimasu cross-country team. They're going underway, and they'll be coming back just about half-time here. Results for you. Johnson with the ball now. And the quarterback, Wayne Anderson. Marks the signals. He has it now. Drops back to pass. Big Dave gets away. Now he runs. Goes over to the left side. Has the running room. Gets up close to the midfield line. He is driven out of bounds by Dave Eggert at that point. On the midfield side, a gain of around 10 yards. It should be enough for a first down. Let's see where he puts steps out of bounds. Looks to be close. Just about the midfield spot. They slide down exactly on the midfield spot now and signal the first down. Johnson Falcons on the move. They're at the midfield spot now. 1 minute and 42 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock as Johnson comes up to the line of scrimmage. In at quarterback is Anderson. Barking the signal. C formation. He drops back now. It's a pass. He's being rushed. He gets away from a couple of tacklers. Finally, it's brought down to a loss of about 2 or 3 yards. Jim Cheetah, the initial man to hit him there behind the line of scrimmage. And so Johnson's been on the move. That's the first time they've been set back. It'll be 2nd and 12. Johnson Falcons with the ball. This game is all tied up in case you're just joined. It's 6-6 from Grand Heights, Narimasu, and Johnson. Johnson with the ball now, just inside their own territory on the 48. Wayne Anderson barks the signals, has his team up now. T formation, flanker out to the right, drops back to pass. Has some more time, 3-point out to the right. It is caught, but it's out of bounds. It is out of bounds. The pass was caught by Quinn Gillian in the end, but he was out of bounds at the time. So it goes as an incomplete forward pass. And we'll bring up a 3rd and 12 now. 3rd and 12 on the Johnson 48-yard line.
Just over 1 minute to play here in the first half, according to that scoreboard clock up there. And the thought throughout the week in the Narimasu practice, they thought they could stop Van Johnson, number 23, that little scat back. On the thought that they might be able to take this ball game. So far they've contained him.
Wayne Anderson, quarterback. He drops back to pass, being chased now. It's going to be chased some more around the 40. He gets away from a couple of tacklers and finally hit and driven out hard by Vanderfin around the midfield stripe. He gets up slow. He was hit hard. He's going to be up close to the midfield stripe. Gain of around 3 yards. He got into Narimasu territory. They marked it down on the 48. A gain of 4. So it's 4th down and about 7. 4th and 7 now for Johnson. I don't think they'll be kicking, Bill. Not with less than a minute showing on the scoreboard clock. 56 seconds. Of course, that is unofficial. Chuck Edwards comes into the game. Johnson goes out on offense for Johnson. That's Van Johnson going out. Hawks dropping back in punt formation, but let's see if they do punt. Tigers and Kaczynski dropping back to receive. There's a tap back. No, he's not going to try to do it. He runs. He gets up across the 45. Vanderfin is there to meet him and break him down, so he did not get the first down. A gain of 4. Bob Who's in to stop also. It's going to be short of the first down, and Narimasu could be taking over. There's some discussion out here. Bob and the officials. I don't see any red flags in play. Illegal procedure against Johnson is declined. There must have been a red flag, Bill. I didn't see it.
I couldn't see it either, Bill, but Narimasu will take over now. 1st and 10. They have the ball on their own 45-yard line. Less than a minute to play here in the first half. Narimasu in possession. The score inside. The Dragons 6 and the Falcons 6. One exciting ball game we have here from Marshall Field in Grand Heights. Narimasu and Johnson right now. Narimasu with a timeout to stop that clock.
44 seconds showing on that scoreboard clock. The ball is resting on the 44-yard line in Narimasu territory. More running room out to the right than there is to the left. The man that's been quarterbacking all day today is Bernie Vanderfin for Narimasu.
Bernie Vanderfin, Bill, is a sophomore, and this is the first game he's quarterbacked in, and he's doing a tremendous job out there for the Dragons this afternoon. With a timeout on the field, less than 1 minute to play on the scoreboard clock here in the first half of this exciting ball game coming to you from Marshall Field. Once again, the officials for today's ball game, the referee is Bob Beveridge, the umpire Larry Howard, the linesman George Cross, the field judge Harry Toast, and the back judge is Chuck Franey. The whistle, time back to Bill for more play-by-play.
Okay, the Dragons up to the line of scrimmage, fighting horse already. Tigers flank out to the right, left in the split. Vanderfin drops back to pass, being chased, has some time, gets away from one tackler, and the ball is loose. I don't know if it's going to go. It is a fumble. He threw back the pass. It was hit by a Johnson man. The ball went loose, and coming up with it is Art Lim. He's 240 pounds and 6'2", hitting that little old Bernie Vanderfin out there. So a break for Johnson now. They'll take over in Narimasu territory. The ball on the 39-yard line. We show 38 seconds on that scoreboard clock, which is, as we've mentioned several times, an unofficial clock. Up to the line of scrimmage comes the Johnson Falcons with Wayne Anderson, the quarterback. He has Jarvis flank to the right, drops back to pass, now has to fix. Shoots a long one downfield, and it's way over the intended receivers. A pair of them down there, Cliff Gillian and Mike Jarvis. It'll go as an incomplete forward pass and bring up a 2nd and 10. Just about a half a minute to go in this game. Mike Stevens now coming into the game to replace Wayne Anderson. Stevens has been doing most of the quarterbacking in this first half for the Johnson Falcons. Let's see what play Bob Foster may have sent him with this. They come up the line of scrimmage. Left in a split about 20 steps out, right along the sideline. Stevens barks the signals. Long count. Johnson comes way off. Van Johnson is way offside. There is a pass play. The officials have actually blown the ball dead. There were penalty flags all over. Van Johnson had the wrong count, evidently. He was across the line of scrimmage from his left half position. And, of course, it would go as offsides against Johnson. The pass was completed. I think it had been blown dead. The ball was resting on the 31-yard line. I believe they'll march off 5 yards against the Johnson Falcons. Discussion down there between both co-captains. number 63, Steve Carr for Johnson, and Bill Ford, number 62, for the Dragons. Ball is brought back now, and 5 yards is kept off against the Johnson Falcons. It puts the ball back on the 44, Narimasu territory. 2nd and 15 now. Johnson Falcons with the ball. This game all tied up, 6 and 6. Some good football played here today so far, Bill.
An exciting ball game all the way.
They're up to the line of scrimmage now, ready to go. The left team split out to the sideline again. I don't see the defender out there with him. Anderson's the quarterback. He drops back now, fades to the right. He is going to be hit. The ball is going to be short. Let's see. And the ball was fought over by a couple of players. One of them was Odie Tigert on defense, Cliff Gillian on offense. Tigert had the ball. Gillian put his arms around him. The ball went down, incomplete. And we'll bring up a 3rd down now. 23 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock. 3rd and 15. Johnson Falcons with the ball. Mike Stevens coming into the game. Wayne Anderson going out. And it looks like Bob Foster is shuttling his quarterbacks back and forth, sending in play. Set to go now. Halfback off to the left is Jarvis. Right hand split. Dropping back is Stevens. He has the ball. He's being rushed. He is going to be brought down around the 48-yard line in his own territory. Rushing in with Bernie Vanderzeer and Jim Peter to bring him down a loss of 7 yards. That'll bring up a 4th and 22 now. 4th and 22. According to the scoreboard clock, 6 seconds in his first half of play. That is, as we've mentioned, an unofficial clock.
Vanderbilt come blitzing in from his left quarterback spot on that one, Bill. He come in and caught. The quarterback's dead. It's a punting situation now.
Boggs back to do the punting. Dropping back is Tiger to receive. The ball is back. He gets it away. It's a long, booming kick. Tiger is under it. He lets it go, though. It's going to go into the end zone, I believe. No! It bounces out just short of the goal line. A beautiful bounce for the Johnson Falcons. About the 1-yard line. It was rolling right for the end zone. And so Narimasu will take over on their own 1-yard line, and perhaps they'll get 1 or 2 plays off here in this first half of play.
Well, Bill, that's the kind of a punt that every punter dreams of. Drop it right in that coffin corner, and it couldn't have been better if you'd have walked it down and laid it out there yourself. It's even less than 1 yard from that goal line. We'd say it's about a foot, and not much more than that. So Narimasu with the ball now on their own 1-foot line, and we have actually no time left showing on the scoreboard clock. Of course, that's not official time. We're not quite sure how much time is left in the game.
And now Narimasu does call a timeout, Bill. They should get 1 play away, perhaps 2, depending on what the official clock does show at this point. And now, what would you do in a situation like this, Bill? Perhaps 1 play to go before half. The game is all tied up 6-6. You have the ball in your own 1-yard line.
Well, then you can't afford to gamble a case like that. And I know if I was quarterbacking the team, which I'm not, so I'll be wrong, I would say a quarterback sneak and just let that clock run out.
That's what I would do. But we probably haven't guessed it right this time. We haven't been too successful all year. As a matter of fact, have we been right once?
Maybe that's why we're up here and they're down there, huh?
That's quite possible. Quite an exciting game here today. Incidentally, the Tofu football team is here scouting today. Okay, time in now. The Dragons up to the line of scrimmage. They're in a punt formation. Tiger's back in his own end zone. Let's see what they're going to do. Snap it back. He has it. He kicks it. And there was nobody back to receive. It'll bounce on the 35 up to the 40. Still rolling to the 45. Anderson's there just watching it go as it comes down to around the midfield stripe. And it's going to be spotted down as a dive for the ball at the last moment. The ball is on the midfield stripe, and there is the gun ending the first half of play. And what an exciting half of football this has been. The Narimasu Dragons, picked by most experts, or so-called experts, is at least a 2 or 3 touchdown underdog. And it's all tied up here, 6-6 at the end of the first half. But now, the team started off the field, and now they come back. Let's see. Is there going to be a recall? There is a penalty flag back in the end zone, Bill. We spot it now way back in the end zone. Let's see what's going to happen. That means we'll have to get 1 more play off. Although the gun did go off ending the period, they'll have to do the whole thing over again.
Well, look at that penalty's against, Bill. It's against Narimasu. It'll be a half a foot penalty. How do you figure that out from that?
It is against Narimasu.
After it's the goal line from the 1-foot line, so now it's a half a foot.
Here comes the cross-country teams, and that's what all the cheering is down below. And the Narimasu man was in the lead, followed by Johnson, now another Johnson man. Okay, we're ready to go. This last play, Tiger is back in punt formation again. This time, Johnson will send the receiver back. He has the ball, gets it away. It's a wobbly kick. It'll be taken on the 20. And he fumbles it now. And the Narimasu man comes up with it, but it'll go for naught because this will be the end of the half, I'm sure. Mark Fukuhara came up with it. Mark Fukuhara recovered for the Dragons, but that is the end of the first half now as we have that replay. And our score is still 6-6 at the end of the first half of play. Johnson Falcons, Narimasu Dragons all tied up.
Well, Bill, a very exciting first half it was, too, as far as the scoring is concerned. Johnson scored in the first quarter, and they recovered a fumble on the Narimasu 14-yard line. Van Johnson took it in from 3 yards out. The extra point try was no good. Then in the second quarter of play, Narimasu took the ball on their own 30-yard line after a beautiful 60-yard punt by Johnson. 2 15-yard penalties helped in the process to move the ball into Johnson territory. And then an impossible pass catch by Sweat, good for 28 yards for the Narimasu Dragons. And then Tigers ran the ball in for Narimasu from 2 yards out. And that's the way our score stands right now at halftime, with the score reading Narimasu 6 and Johnson 6. At this time, let's go back to our studios for a 10-minute news report, news, sports, and weather. Then we'll return for our second half of action here at Marshall Field at Grand Heights and Narimasu and Johnson. Once again, that score at halftime, Narimasu 6 and Johnson 6.
This is Foreign Network News at halftime. From Tokyo, this is Army Sergeant John Rogers reporting. Good afternoon. A bitter house fight over the Safeguard anti-ballistic missile system forced 3 roll calls on the defense procurement bill today. On a final passage of the 311-244, the House voted a $21 million authorization for the ABM and other military hardware. South Vietnamese infantrymen have ambushed an enemy force in the Mekong Delta, killing 22 of them without suffering any casualties. The action took place 130 miles southwest of Saigon. The Dong Ha combat base in the far north was hit by about 5 140-millimeter rocket rounds. Slight damage and casualties were reported. Green Beret defense attorneys F. Lee Bailey and Henry Rothblatt say that they have a suggestion that Congress open a full investigation into the affair of the Green Berets involved in the death of an alleged Vietnamese double agent. The lawyers claim the Army did not clear the Green Berets when they dropped charges on the grounds that the CIA refused to let its agents testify at a trial. They're asking that their clients be completely exonerated of the charges that they conspired to kill a spy. A twin-engine plane has crashed during a heavy snowstorm at Lowry Air Force Base in Denver. 5 persons were killed and 3 injured. A Lowry spokesman says 2 children and 2 crew members were among the dead. The spokesman says that it's believed the Metro commuter airliner was attempting an emergency landing at the base when it crashed. Government and civil rights lawyers have won a federal court order in Jackson, Mississippi. It blocks Mississippi from using the new private school assistance plan until its constitutionality is tested. U.S. District Court Judge Harold Cox agreed to issue the temporary order against employing the program until a 3-judge panel decides whether it is proper. A Wisconsin congressman says 4 official government studies opposing development of the supersonic transport are being kept secret. So says Democrat House member Henry Royce. Royce has called on Transportation Secretary John Volpe to make the studies available to Congress and the public. Volpe is in Italy. President Nixon isn't letting up on his bid to have Clement Haynesworth appointed to the Supreme Court. Today he sent a letter to Senate Republican leader Hugh Scott urging swift approval of his nomination. In his letter, the president said that there is nothing in the record to impeach Haynesworth's integrity or to fault his position on civil rights or labor issues. In other news, playgirl Christine Peter has been barred from both British television networks. The action apparently stems from her recently published memoirs. Her exploits nearly wrecked Prime Minister Harold Macmillan's government 6 years ago. The Czechoslovak government has decorated leaders of the Soviet armies, which invaded that country 15 months ago. The medals were presented by President Ludwig Svoboda to commemorate the liberation of Czechoslovakia from the Germans in 1944, rather than the 1968 military intervention. And finally, at the International Hotel in Las Vegas, guests found a foul odor on the 27th floor. Authorities looked for broken sewer lines. Then, holding their breath, they looked in the attic. Workmen racing to finish the 30-story building in July had plastered more than 270 bats in an attic space. Turning to weather, Fleet Weather Facility at Yokosuka has issued a small craft warning. Harbor conditions are slight to moderate. And Asian Weather Central reports for the Tokyo area. The greater Tokyo area will be cloudy with light intermittent drizzle tonight with highs in the low 60s, the overnight lows in the high 50s. Northern Japan, Hokkaido will be cloudy with isolated rain showers, and Misawa will be partly cloudy. The highs today will be in the mid-50s on Hokkaido and near 60 at Misawa. The overnight lows will be near 40 at Wakanai, near 30 at Chitose, and in the mid-40s at Misawa. And down south, it'll be cloudy with the highs today near 70, tonight's lows near 60. Turning to sports now at halftime, heavily favored Lindy's Pride has completed the sweep of Trotting's Crippletown by winning the $64,757 Kentucky Futurity in straight heats at Lexington Trot. Earlier, Lindy's Pride had won the first two events in the series, the Yonkers Futurity and the Hambletonian. Now, Keith Morris of Sports Illustrated talks with Brooks Robinson of the Baltimore Orioles about tomorrow's playoffs with Minnesota.
My guest is Brooks Robinson of the Baltimore Orioles. Brooks, congratulations on winning your division this year.
Well, thank you, Keith. It was really a lot of fun. We had a pretty good lead after the All-Star game, and it was really a team effort. We had a lot of fellows have great years, and pitching was super, and we played well defensively, and when you do all those things well, you're going to come close to winning.
Brooks, the first two games of the championship series between you and the Minnesota Twins will be on October 4th and 5th in Baltimore. How about the Twins? Do you think that they're a very firm ball club?
Well, we're going to have our hands full. Really, it's just like starting all over. Whichever team is playing the best or has the momentum is going to win. And we were 8-4 with them on the year, and it really doesn't mean too much. Most of the ball games went right down to the wire, and it could have went either way. But we played pretty well against them, and we know we're going to have to face Perry and Boswell and Cott, and we're going to throw McNally and Cuellar and Jim Palmer in the first three games. But we have a home advantage, so the first two ball games, so we're hoping we can come out of there in pretty good shape. And it's just like starting the season over, and we hope we can come out on top.
Brooks, do you like the idea of this new divisional setup?
Well, we didn't really have too much to say about it, Keith. The players, this is the way the owners have wanted it, and it's really too bad that they had it this year because we won quite a few ball games, but this is the way they wanted it, and we realized the rules when we started. We just had a real good year, and I think for fan interest, it has created a lot of interest right up to the series, and the people who go to the ball games seem to like it because I'm sure they'll have great crowds in the championship playoffs. So it's just unfortunate it had to happen this year, but we're really going to go in with the thoughts of going to the World Series, and we just hope that our ball club is better in Minnesota when we play them.
Well, Brooks Robinson, congratulations on another fine year, and the best of luck to you during the championship playoffs and possibly into the World Series.
Thank you very much, Keith.
It was Keith Morris of Sports Illustrated talking to Brooks Robinson. Without a doubt, the most spectacular collapse in recent years was that of the Chicago Cubs this season. For one opinion to why the Cubs fell apart in the last month of the season, here's Ernie Banks talking with Tom Harmon.
The baseball season is over, and now the fun begins. Divisional playoffs start tomorrow, and after that, the survivors go after it in the World Series. In Chicago, there won't be any red, white, and blue bunting around the box seats of Wrigley Field. They should perhaps hang black crape there, and that's the mood that matches the feelings of the fans. They had just about counted on their first series in 25 years until the Met Express rolled by them at blinding speed. It'll be understandable if most Chicagoans don't pay attention to how the Mets and Braves come out in their playoffs. The Cub hopes are crushed, and it's too early to talk about next year. But one man keeps smiling, and he's got enough warmth for the entire city, and that's Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub and Mr. Sunshine, even in the toughest snowstorm. Ernie has been around for 17 years in the majors. He's never been in a World Series. Everybody thought that this was going to be it, including Ernie. I asked him to look back a moment before shutting the door on 69 and explain what happened to the Cubs during the key days of this race.
Everything kind of went the other way at the wrong time. We got down to August and September, and we just couldn't put anything together. Our defense, our fielding, and our pitching all fell at the same time. So it was just one of those things that happen in baseball.
You figure that the pressure or the situation of being so close to the pennant, everybody might have been pressing a little harder than usual?
Yes, that's true. We were pressing quite a bit there, especially when we played the New York Mets at parents, for me, and I know all the rest of the Chicago Cubs.
Well, Eddie, I think that everybody in baseball was hoping that the Cubs made it from the pure standpoint of the situation of you getting into a World Series after all these years, because you deserved it after your great play.
Well, it was great to hear a lot of the wonderful fans across the country to say this, but I know all the fans here in Chicago certainly were looking forward to playing and seeing the Cubs in the divisional playoff and the World Series.
What about that net ball club? Have they got an opportunity of going all the way?
They certainly do. They have some fine players. Tom Seaver and Kuzman have certainly been a very fine asset to the pitching staff. They're great pitchers. I do feel that the Mets are together. They have the desire, the determination. They have great leadership in Gil Hodges, and they certainly can go all the way.
Would you, in your own opinion, Ernie, feel that they have any advantage on Atlanta, or is it truly a question of pitching against hitting?
Well, it will be pitching against hitting. I think that the Atlanta Braves have a fine hitting ball club, although they haven't hit well in their own ballpark. They've had trouble there scoring runs. So I think the Mets do have an advantage at both places in Atlanta and also at New York.
That was Ernie Banks talking to ABC's Tom Harmon. In two college football games today, Miami of Florida down North Carolina State 23-13, and Idaho whipped Southern Mississippi 31-21. Nationalist China leads the United States in the World Cup golf tournament in Singapore. And finally, in sports news, the annual Buick Open golf tournament at Flint, Michigan is being discontinued. The tournament spokesman says the event was scheduled too close to the British Open. That's news and sports at halftime. Now back to Air Force Sergeant Bill Miller for the second half of today's ball game.
Well, welcome back to Marshall Field here at Grand Heights. We're at halftime, a very exciting ball game. That score at halftime is Narimasu 6 and Johnson 6, and in my mind, it's quite a surprise. We were looking for a good ball game. Of course, last week, Narimasu took it on the chin from Chofu by a score of 32-0. Narimasu won their opener against ASIJ 18-0. And of course, Johnson thus far in the season is undefeated. They have a 3-win and no loss record, but the score is tied right here at Marshall Field at halftime by a score of 6-6. Checking some unofficial statistics in the first half of play for Narimasu. They got 6 points on 5 first downs. They rushed for 7 yards, attempted 12 passes, completed 5 for 87 yards. They lost 2 fumbles, punted 4 times for an average of 30 yards. Each was penalized twice for 20 yards. Checking the Johnson stats unofficially for the first half. In first downs, they got 6. They rushed for 75 yards, attempted 5 passes, completed 1, had 1 intercepted. They passed for 28 yards, penalized 4 times for a total of 50 yards. Lost 1 fumble and punted 4 times for an average of 49 yards. So that's the stats here at halftime with a score of 6-6. And to take over the play-by-play here in the second half, from Air Force Sergeant Bill Asher, Navy journalist Bill Baldwin. Bill, from your observation of that first half, what do you think?
Well, I was very surprised initially, Bill, by the score, because as you said before, most experts have been touting Narimasu as possibly a 2-touchdown underdog. The guy that impresses me the most in the first half, playing defensively and offensively for Narimasu, mainly on defense, number 20, Dave Eigert. In the first quarter, we had a mix-up there. 2 guys were slated at number 20 for Narimasu, Ray Glenn and Dave Eigert. Eigert made a number of unassisted tackles by himself. He plays very tough defense. And Bernie Vanderson, the quarterback for Narimasu, this is his first ball game as starting quarterback. What were we discussing at halftime? He's only 14 years old. He impresses me a great deal. Now, Johnson doesn't seem to be able to get it going. I haven't been impressed at all by their play calling. It seems Van Johnson hasn't been able to get open on runs, or except for that one swing pass, he went for about 20 yards. Johnson looks confused. I think they came into the ball game thinking that Narimasu might be an easy touch, Bill. After Narimasu lost to Chofu, what was it, 32-0 last week? That's right. And Johnson won over ASIJ 28-8. So I think they didn't expect Narimasu to battle in the way they have so far.
Well, thus far, they've played even ball in the first half with that score reading. Narimasu 6 and Johnson 6. Both teams scored missing that try for the extra point. Speaking more of Bernie Vanderson, the quarterback for the Dragons, Bill, he was slated at a halfback running slot and had been thus far in the season. He was sort of a backup or a second-string quarterback to the regular quarterback Walker, and as yet had not seen any fall. The only quarterbacks we know that Narimasu has played thus far this year has been Ray Glenn, number 20, who is also just a sophomore, and of course the regular quarterback they've been running all year long thus far has been Walker, but Walker's sitting out the game. He's not injured, but he is on the bench during this football game here this afternoon. Getting ready for the second half of play. Narimasu will be running from our right to left. Johnson between the goal on our left. And Johnson will be kicking off to Narimasu here in the second half of play. The ball back out in the center of the field. Both teams on the field right now. And once again, if you're just joining us, we're coming to you from Marshall Field at Narimasu High School, located in the Grant Heights family housing area. And this game between the Narimasu Dragons, the Johnson Falcons, the score all tied up here at halftime. And the second half just about ready to get underway.
Kicking off for Johnson will be Ken Boggs, who plays fullback for them on offense. He's done a fine job running for him today. Back deep for Narimasu, Al Krasinski and Odie Tiger. Back deep along with Bernie Vanderfen about 15 yards up in front along with Dave Iger. Boggs set the kick, waiting for the official signal. The score is tied 6-6. Johnson and Narimasu the start of the second half of play here at Marshall Field at Grant Heights. Ken Boggs waiting for the signal to kick off. Coming up to the ball. There's the boost. A long end-over-end kick coming straight down. Al Krasinski takes it on his own 15-yard line, coming to the right side, getting a few blocks up there, coming straight up the middle of the cross. Finally hit by Boggs at about the 36-yard line. So it'll be first and 10 for Narimasu on their own, call it 34.5, 35-yard line. Ken Boggs, the guy who kicked off, made the tackle for Johnson. Bernie Vanderfen, the quarterback, calling signals in the huddle, calling the play for the Narimasu Dragons. It's all tied up here, 6-6, a very exciting ball game. Bringing his team up to the line of scrimmage. Andy Sweat, split left. Kaczynski, one of the tight backs, and Samashima. The handoff, Samashima coming straight ahead. He's across the 35 up to about the 38-yard line. A gain of 2 yards on the play. The tackle by Ken Kalpoliki, who was hurt last week in the ball game against ASIJ. He seems to be back in there now. Art Lem also made the tackle. I do believe that was Art Lem making the tackle. I haven't seen Ken Kalpoliki in there for Johnson yet today. So a gain of 2 yards in the play. Second down, 8 yards to go on the 37-yard line of Narimasu.
8-man line up there for Johnson. Those linebackers playing in tight. 3 safeties.
Kaczynski and Samashima set back. There's the snap over the middle of pass intended for Andy Sweat, or excuse me, number 82. Ron Montgomery, incomplete. There's a penalty flag on the field. Vanderfen tried that quick pass where he jumped straight up over the line of scrimmage and throws to his end, cutting across. The call is a first down, pass interference against Johnson, so an automatic first down for Narimasu. Brings the ball up to the 42-yard line of Narimasu. First and 10. 6-6, all tied up here at Marshall Field. Narimasu breaks the huddle, comes up the line of scrimmage, Sweat flank left. Flanker to the left here, Samashima. Vanderfen calling signals. Handoff straight ahead to the fullback, coming across the 43, and that's about all far he's going to get, to the 43-yard line. Ken Blevins made the tackle. Odie Tiger carrying for Narimasu. Also Art Lemo on the play, a gain of 1 yard. So it'll be second down, 9 yards to go for Narimasu. They have the ball resting across the 40-yard line on about the 44. Second down, 9 yards to go for Narimasu. They break the huddle, come up to the line of scrimmage. Andy Sweat, split left. 2 setbacks, split end to the right side. Vanderfen calling signals now. There's the snap. He's fading back to throw, looking for a receiver. Flat pass out here over to Samashima. It's complete. Across the 50-yard line, down to the 45. There's a bobble going to the ball. Mike Jarvis defending on the play for Johnson, but it is complete. A gain of 14 yards on the play on that screen pass to Samashima. So it'll be first down for Narimasu to about the 43-yard line of Johnson. A nice play from Vanderfen to Samashima. So first down for Narimasu here on the Johnson 43-yard line. Vanderfen was looking downfield, deep for a receiver. Couldn't find it, finally hit the team Samashima. So first and 10 for Narimasu on the 43-yard line of Johnson. Sweat, split left, 2 setbacks, split into the right. Vanderfen fading back across the middle. That quick pass intended for Al Krasinski. There's a penalty marker on the field. It looks like a holding penalty. Initial indication from the referees. We'll wait for the final judgment on the play. That was an intended pass, a quick pass over the middle again, but it was incomplete. And we do have a penalty mark on the play. Narimasu going back about 20 yards downfield to make their huddle. Referee talking to defensive captain Ron Camacho, and they're marking it off 15 yards. Back to the Narimasu 44-yard line. So there it is, a big penalty against the Narimasu Dragons after that fine gain into Johnson territory up to their own 43. It's back to the 44-yard line of Narimasu. We'll have the ball, first down, and about 25 yards to go. 6-6, all tied up here at Marshall Field. We're just into the third quarter of play. Split left. Vanderson throwing signals, 2 setbacks, split back to the right. Hand up to the fullback, fake handoff. A fake by Vanderson. He's caught back at the line of scrimmage, a loss of 2 yards, making the tackle. Bob Goodman in there for Johnson. Vanderson faked it to his fullback coming across, looked like he was going to roll out to the right side, possibly a pass, possibly a run situation. But Goodman caught him right away back for a 2-yard loss. It'll be second down and 27 yards to go. The ball resting on the 42-yard line of Narimasu, just into the third quarter of play. Narimasu breaks the huddle. Vanderson brings his club up. Andy Sweat, split left. 2 setbacks. Kuczynski and Tomashima split into the right side Tigers. Calling signals fading back. Vanderson looking for a receiver, throwing downfield. Intercepted! Intercepted, we don't see if it's number 25 or number 15. Interception by Wayne Anderson playing defense and offense for Johnson. So they take over on that pass from Vanderson. Intercepted by Wayne Anderson. The ball on the 48-yard line of Johnson, first and 10. So there's a turnover there that's got to hurt Narimasu right away in this first drive, Bill. Johnson on offense now. Mike Stevens, the quarterback. Boggs and Johnson set back. Jarvis to the right, Gilliam to the left. Stevens calling signals, fading back to throw. The first play of scrimmage. Over the middle, incomplete. That was intended for Cliff Gilliam, number 83, defending on the play for Narimasu, OD Tigers. So Stevens, his first play from scrimmage in the second half, a pass over the center, incomplete. Number of Narimasu defenders in there. It was intended for Cliff Gilliam, the split end to the left. So it'll be second and 10. The ball on the 48-yard line of Johnson. Coming out of their huddle, up to the line of scrimmage. Gilliam splits to the right, Jarvis to the left. Barnes and Johnson setback. Stevens calling signal. Fading back to pass once again, over to the right flat. Complete to Gilliam. Complete to Gilliam all about the 46-yard line. And he's hit by a number of guys. Bernie Vanderson leading the way for the Dragons. Completed pass to Cliff Gilliam. A gain on the play of 6 yards. So it'll be third down and still about 6 yards to go for Johnson. The ball across the midfield stripe on the Narimasu 47-yard line.
Narimasu lining up in a 5-3-3 defense. And so they're expecting that those passes. They got 3 safety men about 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Now they move up into a tight line now, expecting that run.
Boggs and Johnson, the setback. Gilliam split right. Stevens calling signals. Tight T formation in there. There's a bobble. Stevens falls on the ball and actually gains about a yard on the play. There was a bobble on the snap back from center. The ball is moved up to about the 45-yard line of Narimasu. The gain of 1 on the play. It'll be fourth down, though, and 4 yards to go for Johnson. Chuck Edwards coming into the ball game along with Wayne Anderson. Mike Stevens and Van Johnson coming out for Johnson. So we may see a punt and we may not. We don't know. Going back in double safety, Odie Tigers and number 31, Scott Miller. For Narimasu.
Well, how about that?
Ken Boggs back in defense formation for the Johnson Falcons. There's the snap. He gets the boot away, a high kick, end over end, coming down, straight down to about the 20-yard line, bouncing back up, and that's down there right away by Cliff Gilliam. The ball will be placed down on about the 17-yard line, 15-yard line, call it, of the Narimasu Dragons. So first and 10 for them. Our score is tied 6-6, 7 minutes, 52 seconds remaining in the third quarter. And Johnson has punted, and Narimasu taking over on offense. Bernie Vanderson going all the way here for the Narimasu Dragons today. Quarterback Mike Stevens and Wayne Anderson traded out the quarterback George Johnson. We haven't seen Rich Kaleo today that started last week. He was injured and hasn't played at all this week. Vanderson calling signal, split end to the left. The handoff to the halfback coming across Kuczynski. He gains about 1 yard, maybe. Call it a yard and a half. Number of Johnson players in on the tackle. A big pile up there. We didn't see who made the initial stop on the play. Rich Petrosky. Defensive tackle along with Ron Camacho, the defensive captain. A gain of 1 yard on the play. Second and 9 for the Dragons. Steve Tomashima coming out of the ball game for Narimasu. We didn't see who replaced him. So it'll be second and 9 on about the 17-yard line. Leroy McAlpin in the ball game now for Narimasu. He replaced Steve Tomashima. The Dragons break the huddle. Bernie Vanderson brings them up. Andy Sweat split left, two setbacks, split end to the right side. Vanderson calling signals from Narimasu. Pitch out to the right halfback. He's coming around the right side. Got a little blocking up to about the 18-yard line. Leroy McAlpin just came in the ball game. Got that pitch out from Vanderson. A gain of maybe 2 yards, just about up to the 20-yard line. Steve Shamashina coming in the ball game now to tackle Tim Blevins and Mark Morant for Johnson. Leroy McAlpin coming out. He just carried the ball from Narimasu. A gain of 1 on the play. So it'll be 3rd and 8 yards to go. The ball on about the 18-yard line of the Dragons. Dragons break the huddle. Bernie Vanderson brings his club up. Andy Sweat split left. Samashima and Kosinski. The setback split into the right side. Calling signals. Fading back to pass. Looking for a receiver over in the flat. Overthrown. Intended for Steve Samashima. Mike Jarvis covering on the play for Johnson. So it will be 4th down. A punting situation for the Narimasu Dragons. Number of players coming in. Andy Sweat and Steve Samashima coming out. Also, Dave Iger coming into the ball game. Quarterback, Bernie Vanderson coming out, and the center, Bob Fook. Punting situation for the Narimasu Dragons back deep for the Johnson Falcons. Tim Barnes and John Bowen. Deep receivers on the punt situation. Mike Jarvis up about 15 yards. There's the snap from center, the kick. Luke coming off the side of his foot over here in front of us, bouncing on the 40-yard line, and finally down on about the 35 by Alex Osinski. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Johnson Falcons inside Narimasu territory on the 35-yard line of Narimasu. It's all tied up here on score 6-6. A good ball game from Marshall Field here at the Graff Heights Family Housing Annex. Johnson has it.
That's probably good for 15 yards, actually, a short punt. It had the height but not the distance, a 15-yard punt from the line of scrimmage. Johnson with the ball, 1st and 10 on the Narimasu 35.
New quarterback in the ball game for Johnson, number 17, Rich Kaleo. First time we've seen him. A handoff to the halfback, Van Johnson. He gets across down to the 30-yard line. Tackle made on the play by Dave Eigert. There he is again, playing a great game defensively for Narimasu. So Rich Kaleo, the starter last week, came in. And quarterbacking now, a gain of 6 yards for Van Johnson. He comes out of the ball game, coming in number 25, Chuck Edwards, replacing him for the Johnson Falcons. The ball on the 30-yard line, a gain of 6 yards for Johnson. 2nd down, Bonds and Edwards, set back. Gilliam split right. Hand off to Chuck Edwards. Just came in the ball game. He gets across the 30 into about the 28-yard line. He's hit by 3 Narimasu players, leading the way Bob Booth, playing both ways for Narimasu. So a gain of 2 yards on the play. 3rd down and about 2 yards to go. Call it a gain of 3 yards for Johnson. They have the ball on about the 27-yard line of the Narimasu Dragons. Kaleo calling signal, setback, Bonds and Edwards. Hand off the box, coming across left tackle. You should have the 1st down across the 25 down to about the 23-yard line. Making the stop for Narimasu, Dave Eigert, number 20, making a lot of tackles for Narimasu today. Ken Boggs, the fullback, carrying the ball, a gain of 3 yards. 1st down for Johnson. Just about on the 25-yard line of Narimasu. 1st and 10 yards to go. Rich Kaleo now, he started last week for Johnson, then injured. He's calling signals now for him. Mike Jarvis split right. Bonds and Edwards, setback, Gilliam to the left. Hand off to Bonds, straight ahead, across the middle, driving down to about the 20-yard line. Gain of 4 or 5 yards in there. A number of guys from Narimasu meeting him, led by Mark Fukuhara, and also Steve Morton in there. Gain of 5 yards for Ken Boggs, the big fullback for Johnson. 2nd down, 5 yards to go. The ball just about on the 20-yard line of the Narimasu Dragons. Moving steadily now on the ground, the Falcons. Gilliam split right, Jarvis split left, 2 setbacks. Kaleo calling signals. Hand off to the halfback, Edwards. He gets across the 20, down to maybe about the 19. Mark Fukuhara meeting him there for the Narimasu Dragons. A gain of 1 yard on the play. So it'll be 3rd down and about 4 yards to go for Johnson. They're inside the 20-yard line of Narimasu. Here our score is tied 6-6.
Narimasu will end up into an 8-man line on defense now.
Looks like a running formation for Johnson. Straight ahead, Rich Kaleo, keeper. He's across and down to about inside the 15-yard line. I don't know if that's good enough for a 1st down or not. We'll wait for the indications from the officials. 1st down, Johnson. 1st down, Bill Ford made the tackle for Narimasu along with Bob Booth. Gain of 4 yards in the play on a keeper by Rich Kaleo. So it's 1st down and goal to go for the Johnson Falcons. They break the huddle. Cliff Gilliam split right. Mike Jarvis split left. Edwards and Boggs the setback. Hand off the Boggs, coming across left side. He's over the 10, down inside the 10-yard line. 1st man to meet him down there for Narimasu. Number 54, Bob Booth.
Coming into the ballgame for Narimasu right now, Roy Brandt, the defensive tackle. Coming out, number 68, Jim Cheetah. Gain of 2 yards on the play. Second down, goals to go. Gilliam split left, Jarvis right, Barnes and Edwards for setbacks. Toledo calling signal. Pitch back to Edwards coming around the right side. He's got blocking coming across the 10 of down inside the 5-yard line. He's finally met initially first by Ron Montgomery, also down there, Odie Tiger. Gain of 4 yards on the play there from Chuck Edwards and a pitch out from Rich Kaleo. The ball resting inside the 5-yard line, on the 4-yard line. Third down, goal to go for Johnson. A steady running game. They're pounding that ball out against Narimasu. Jarvis split right. Bond, Edwards, the setback. Kaleo, straight ahead the box, up the middle. He's down very close. I don't think he got in there, waiting for the official signal. In on the tackle for Narimasu, coming off the bottom of the pile, Odie Tiger. The ball being spotted on just about the 1-yard line, a gain of 2 for Ken Boggs. So it's fourth down, 1 yard to go on the 1-yard line of Narimasu. Johnson knocking at the door. Jarvis split right, step back. Kaleo, keeper play. He's in there, touchdown. Touchdown Johnson. A keeper play by Rich Kaleo, the quarterback, over right guard. They push those men back, and it's touchdown Johnson. That makes the score 12-6 here at Marshall Field in favor of the Johnson Falcons. What about that, Bill?
Well, they grounded out on the ground, Bill. They took that ball at the Narimasu 35-yard line after receiving that punt. It just grounded out, eating up the yardage 4, 5, 6, and 3 yards at a time. So Kaleo pushed it in from 1 yard out.
Van Johnson in the ball game replacing Chuck Edwards. As Johnson has done just about all year, they're going for the 2-point conversion. Split in to the right, Cliff Gilliam. Kaleo calling signals. Hand off the box, coming around left hand. It looks like he got in there. He did. Ken Boggs over left tackle. He scores a 2-point conversion. That makes their score right now 14-6. The Johnson Falcons leading here. 2:36 remaining in the third period of play at Marshall Field. So a fine running game put on by the Johnson Falcons here in the second half, and especially with Rich Kaleo, their starter at quarterback, coming in to lead them. Ken Boggs, Chuck Edwards, and Van Johnson doing the running for Johnson.
Well, the Johnson Falcons ate up the clock there in that drive, Bill, grounding out on the ground with about 2 or 3 yards in a cloud of dust, as they say, and move that ball down for 35 yards and the TD on that drive. We have about 2 minutes and 36 seconds of it played here in the third quarter, unofficially on the scoreboard clock. And the score now reading, Johnson 14, Narimasu 6. Ball being teed up now by Johnson. He'll be kicking off. Narimasu trying to receive that ball, but we're cut out for the trail now. The ball game by 8 points.
Ken Boggs is the fullback with Johnson, also the punter, and he does kicking off. Tying his shoe up, he plays the ball down the center. Now it's the Odie Tiger, Bernie Manderson. Deep to receive for Narimasu. They're behind the ball game 14-6. Just about set for the kickoff. Boggs coming towards the ball. There's the boot. A high end-over-end kick coming down. Bernie Manderson has the ball on his own 20-yard line. Coming across the right side. He leading the way. He's got a couple of blockers. He's hit and down on about the 18-yard line. First to stop him, Harold Bonner in the play for Johnson along with Jim Bush. So Narimasu has the ball now, placing the ball down. We can't see quite where they have placed the yard markers. Call it the 16-yard line of Narimasu. First and 10 for them. They're behind now, 14-6 in this ball game as Johnson drove down all the way on the ground to score that touchdown. Bernie Anderson all the way at quarterback for Narimasu brings his players out, and he split left, 2 step back, a split end to the right side, Odie Tiger. Anderson calling signals, hand off to the halfback, coming across, not much of a gain at all. Steve Salmachima carrying the ball for Narimasu, a gain of possibly 1. Mike Jarvis on the tackle along with Art Lem, a big 6'2", 240-pound tackle, Greg Wilhelm. So gain of 1 on the play, second down, 9 yards to go. The ball resting on about the 17-yard line of Narimasu. Johnson leading 14-6. We have 2 minutes, 4 seconds remaining here in the third quarter of play. Narimasu breaks the huddle. Andy split left. Samashima, Kaczynski the step back, along with Odie Tiger.
Trying to follow on the play. Johnson has recovered. We can't see who recovered the ball. Anderson kept it and fumbled. Recovery, number 81, Mark Florence for the Johnson Falcons. Another big breaking of the ball deep
in Narimasu territory. A keeper by the quarterback, Andy Vanderson. He fumbled on initial contact. Mark Florence recovered, so first and 10 for Johnson. The ball resting on about the 22-yard line of Narimasu. They could score again here. This could break this game wide open. Mike Jarvis split right. Cliff Gilliam split left. Van Johnson in motion. And Ken Boggs moved on the play. There's a flag. Kaleo looking. Screen pass. Intercepted. Almost intercepted by Odie Tiger defending against Mike Jarvis. But we have a penalty marker on the play, and I do believe it'll be a legal procedure, Bill.
It looked that way, Bill. One of the backs made a motion toward that line prior to the snap of the ball. And it will be a legal procedure coming up against the Falcons.
Referee conferring with defensive captain on the play. Bill Ford for Narimasu. Van Johnson went in motion at his halfback spot. And I guess there was a cross-up and signals or something because Ken Boggs made a step toward the line of scrimmage. Referee still conferring on the penalty. Narimasu will take it. 5-yard penalty against Johnson. Illegal procedure, so that moves the ball up to about the 27-yard line of Narimasu. Down remains first down and 15 yards to go for Johnson. They're threatening to score here again after a fumble play. They're up at the line of scrimmage. Cliff Gilliam split right, Jarvis to the left. Boggs, Johnson the setback. Handoff to Johnson over left tackle. He's not going anywhere. Hit first by Bill Ford, Roy Branch in there, and Bob Group. All on the tackle for Narimasu. Maybe a gain of 2 yards on the play for Johnson. So 2nd and 13. The ball just about on the 25-yard line of Narimasu. So the Narimasu defensive line met that play right away. Van Johnson hasn't done too much for Johnson so far today. Split ends to the right and left. Kaleo calling signals. Hand off to Boggs over left guard. He's carrying across the 15 and down inside Narimasu territory to about the 12-yard line. Fine carry by Ken Boggs coming across the left tackle. Bob Booth in there to stop him for Narimasu. They're placing the ball on the 14-yard line of Narimasu. A gain of 9 yards for Ken Boggs, a big fullback for Johnson. So it'll be 3rd down. And call it 5 yards to go for Johnson after that illegal procedure penalty. Split ends to the right and left. Boggs, Johnson the setback. Kaleo calling signal. Hand off to Van Johnson over right tackle. Looks like he's got the first down. He's coming inside the 10, down to the 5, still on his feet. A fine run by Van Johnson. Over right tackle, a big hole there. Calling timeout on the play as the Narimasu player down. Tackle on the play. We couldn't see who made the initial stop on the play. Bill Ford, the defensive captain for Narimasu, making the tackle. The ball down just about to the 5-yard line. 1st and goal to go for Johnson. They're threatening again. A gain of 10 yards for Van Johnson. Quarterback keeper by Kaleo. He's coming across the 5-yard line down to maybe the 3-yard line. Or he's hit by a number of Narimasu players. Narimasu man on the ground. Bill Ford once again in on the tackle. The defensive captain from Narimasu playing very tough ball inside. So it's 2nd down. Goal to go for Johnson. They're knocking on the door again. And I believe we will have a timeout call on the player. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. End of the 3rd quarter with a score here. The Johnson Falcons 14. The Narimasu Dragons 6.
Well, Bill left away the scoring win in the 3rd quarter of play. Johnson going out in front by a score of 14-6. They took the ball on the 35-yard line of Narimasu, took it downfield in short gain, where Kaleo brought in for 1 yard out, and Boggs winning the 2-point conversion. Once again, in the fourth quarter, that opens up the final period. Johnson has that ball in beautiful position. They got 2nd down, goal to go, and they're down at about the 1 or 2 yard line of Narimasu. Once again, wrapping on that scoring door.
You know, Bill, I've noticed a real difference in Johnson's play calling of his running game since Kaleo has come in there to play quarterback for him. The difference of that starter, the man who's been working with the first team all year. The timing with the back makes a lot of difference, I think.
Well, Bill, Narimasu going to have to go to the air, I think, in this final quarter because they can't go against that Johnson line.
2nd down, goal to go for Johnson, about the 3-yard line. Hand off to Van Johnson over left tackle. He scores. Touchdown, Johnson. That was quick. End of the 3rd quarter, we came down the first play. Van Johnson scoring from 3 yards out over left tackle. And fine blocking in there for the Johnson line. So the score now 20-6 in favor of the Johnson Falcons. And we still have a conversion try to come up. Van Johnson coming out of the ball game for Johnson in Chuck Edwards at halfback. And Johnson, as they have done all year, and they've done twice today in this ball game, will go for the 2-point conversion. Mike Jarvis split right. Boggs and Edwards the setback, Gilliam to the left. Kaleo calling signal. There's another move by a halfback. Handoff inside there. He gets across the line. But we do have penalty flags down on the field. I believe again, Bill, it'll be a legal procedure. Carrying on the play was Ken Boggs, but it's not going to be any good. He scored on the 2-point conversion. They moved that ball back now on the penalty marker. A legal procedure against Johnson. That moves the ball back to the 8-yard line, where apparently they will try it again.
Coming in now, Van Johnson coming into the ball game. Chuck Edwards coming back out for Johnson, possibly in with a new play for the two-point conversion. Johnson in the huddle right now. 8-man line for Narimasu on defense. Wide split ends, Gilliam and Jarvis to the left and right. Kaleo calling the signal, fading back to throw, rolling to his right, being pursued. There's the pass. It's intercepted by Narimasu man, Bernie Vanderson. So the conversion is no good, and our score now 20-6 in favor of the Johnson Falcons. 11:49 remaining in the ball game.
Well, the Johnson Falcons opened this game up here in the opening seconds of this fourth quarter of play. They took the ball on the Narimasu 21-yard line after recovering a fumble with the quarterback. Bernie Vanderson tried to run that ball himself on a keeper. He fumbled the ball, recovered by Johnson at the Narimasu 21. They moved the ball down inside the 5-yard line. Johnson taking it in from 3 yards out. The try, of course, for the extra point was no good. That makes the score now 11 minutes and 48 seconds up there on that scoreboard clock. The Johnson Falcons 20, the Narimasu Dragons 6. Narimasu going to have to take this ball, Bill, and move it down the field to get back in this ball game.
They've got to score quickly, Bill. Back deep from Narimasu. Al Kaczynski and Odie Tiger just waiting to receive the ball. Ken Boggs, as he's done all year for Johnson, will do the kicking. He's now going to take some time to tie up his shoe, Bill, and I don't think that's legal in college ball anymore. Tying the front cleat, they move it up to the toe of the shoe. It's sticking off the ground a little bit. I guess they hope to get some height. Plus, that kicking team's going to be 2 or 3 inches high. All right, he's set to go. Ken Boggs stepping back. Down up in the air, waiting for the signal from the referee. Move up towards that ball. The Johnson players down. Here comes the line. He moves it. End over end kick short. Bernie Vanderson coming under it at about the 30, 25-yard line. He's coming off the top of the 30 to 35. He finally hit and down on the play. First to hit him, Ron Camacho, defensively for Johnson. Bernie Vanderson, the quarterback, all the way here for the Narimasu Dragons. Caught that ball on about his own 20-yard line. Brought it up across to the 36-yard line of Narimasu. Well, they'll take it. First and 10 yards to go. They're behind in the ball game 20-6. And they've got to get it going. Vanderson calling the play in the huddle right now.
The Dragons haven't been able to run against a strong Johnson line that outweighs them by 10 pounds, so they better go to the air.
Odie Tiger split right, and he split left. 2 step back. Vanderson fading back to throw, looking for a receiver. Throwing long towards West. He's got it! He's got it! West down to the 20-yard line of Narimasu. Fine catch by Andy West. Great catch. Down the tackle defensively for Johnson. John Bullock. So there we have it again. A gain of 35 yards on that play from Bernie Vanderson to his favorite receiver, Andy Sweat. He gathered it in without breaking stride. So Narimasu strike quickly. And it's down to the Johnson 30-yard line. Just call it inside the Johnson 30 at the 29. First and 10 for Narimasu. Vanderson over the ball, calling signals, split ends to the right and left. 2 step back. Fading back to throw again, looking for a receiver. It's knocked out and intercepted by Johnson. Intercepted. Ken Blevins there to intercept it. A lineman deflected that short pass from Vanderson, and Blevins came up with it. The ball will be on about the 27-yard line of Johnson, and there, that's a big one, Bill.
Well, there again, Bill, it's going to cost them because they had the ball moving after that 35-yard pass completion. And that time, Vanderson trying to pass the ball again, dropped back for that short look-in pass when the lineman deflected the ball into the air, and Johnson has that ball now, first and 10 on their own 29-yard line.
Well, we'll see if Narimasu can fight back. That's got to hurt him. Rich Kaleo still the quarterback, handing off to the fullback, straight ahead. He gets across the 30-yard line up to about the 33. Ken Boggs carrying in there. He played fullback all the way. The tackle by Dave Eigert again. A gain of 3 yards on the play. And I can't say enough, Bill, about Dave Eigert's defensive play for Narimasu, along with Bill Ford. They've been 2 standouts for the Dragons today. Replacement in the ball game, coming in for Narimasu, number 53, Bruce Cotano. Coming out, Mike French. Second down, 7 yards to go. Rich Kaleo calling signals, tight D formation. There's a movement by a back there. Pitch back, and Narimasu has recovered it. I do believe there's a penalty flag down there. We can't see who's in there. A bobble back on the play, and a pitch back to Ken Boggs. Coming off the ball, Steve Yepson. And we haven't had any indication yet from the referees whether Narimasu has recovered it, the ball was blown dead, or what. They're conferring there with both teams. A penalty marker on the field. I do believe it would be a legal procedure against Johnson because one of their backs moved straight towards the line of scrimmage before the ball. And there also is a Narimasu man down.
He's not hurt, Bill. He's just sitting down there talking to the referee. That's where he landed after the play.
Bill Ford, the defensive captain, taking a little rest out there, sacking it out for a second. He's back on his feet now. Illegal procedure is the call against Johnson declined by Narimasu. There was no recovery on that fumble play. A loss of 3 yards on the play, so it'll be third down, 10 yards to go for Johnson. Cliff Gilliam split right. Mike Jarvis split end over here on the left, kind of up near the line of scrimmage as a flanker. The official's calling timeout now. And time back in again. So we're set to go. 3rd and 10, Rich Kaleo calling signals, tight T, split end to the right side. Hand off the box, straight up the middle. He's coming across, gain of about 5-6 yards up to the 34-yard line. Tackled in there on the play by Bruce Campano and Dave Eigert. So a gain of 6 yards for Ken Boggs, a big fullback for Johnson. That'll make it 4th down on the play now. And the punting situation goes out to the Johnson Falcons. They get the ball on their own 35-yard line. Coming into the ballgame now, Wayne Anderson and Chuck Edwards going out, Rich Kaleo. And they better get somebody else out of there. I think they've got too many men. Now they're calling timeout. Johnson calls timeout on the field. They were set for a punting situation, Bill, and got a little confusion there of how many men they got on the field.
Well, Narimasu was able to hold Johnson on that drive, Bill. Of course, that 5 yards penalty also helped. So Johnson now forced into a punting situation. 4th